The emergency session of the Galactic Council had been in recess for 3 standard hours, yet the tension in the crystalline chamber remained thick enough to cut with a plasma blade. Ambassador Ana Martinez sat motionless in the human delegation's pod. Her fingers steepled as she watched the various alien species huddle in heated discussions across the vast amphitheater. Beside her, Commander Helen Voss reviewed the datapad containing Earth's response to the Council's ultimatum. The deadline was approaching fast. 12 hours to surrender all human colonies and submit to permanent quarantine, or face the combined might of 17 galactic civilizations. "They're scared," Ana observed, nodding toward a cluster of Zephyrian delegates whose normally pristine blue feathers were ruffled in agitation. Good. The revelation had shattered everything the galaxy thought it knew about humanity. For 3 centuries, Earth had been catalogued as Sol 3, a backwater world inhabited by a primitive species that had barely achieved faster-than-light travel. The humans were tolerated, even pitied, newcomers who would surely burn themselves out within a few generations like so many species before them. But yesterday, everything changed. The ancient Keeper archives, sealed for millennia in the galactic core, had finally been deciphered. Within those crystallized memory banks lay the true history of the galaxy, including Earth's real designation in the Old Tongue, Kethmori Thalan, the death world of endless war. Elder Zix Thala, of the Arcanate, had been the first to understand the implications. Her 7,000-year-old mind had accessed memories passed down through genetic heritage, stories that even the eldest civilizations had relegated to myth. The humans weren't newcomers at all. They were the descendants of the galaxy's most feared warriors, exiled to a planetary prison so hostile that no other species could survive there. The Council had assumed Earth's bizarre conditions were natural. The crushing gravity, the violent weather, the toxic atmosphere composition, the predatory ecosystems where everything consumed everything else. They never imagined it had been engineered as the ultimate containment facility. Now Ana watched as the truth sank in among the delegates. Humans hadn't just survived on their death world, they had thrived. They had turned a prison into a forge that had created something unprecedented. A species that found warfare as natural as breathing, that treated impossible odds as mild inconvenience, and that had somehow developed the galaxy's most advanced military technology, while the Council believed they were still discovering fire. Ambassador Martinez, came the synthesized voice of the collective's primary node. The Council is prepared to resume session. Ana stood smoothly, her movements carrying the unconscious predatory grace that had begun to unnerve the other species. Helen fell into step beside her, his hand resting casually on the grip of what the aliens had assumed was a primitive kinetic weapon. They had no idea it was a miniaturized antimatter projector disguised as an antique pistol. The great chamber filled with representatives from across the galaxy. The hegemony's insectoid warriors clicked their mandibles nervously. The gas form, ephemeral, flickered with anxiety patterns. Even the machine race cognitum's optical sensors dimmed with something resembling fear. Chancellor Vorthak of the Dominion Corps called the session to order, his voice carrying across the chamber through translation matrices. The human delegation will now respond to our request. Ana smiled, and several aliens instinctively recoiled. That expression, they were beginning to understand, was not a sign of friendliness among humans. It was a display of teeth, a predator's warning. "Honored Council," Ana began, her voice carrying clearly without amplification. "We have considered your ultimatum with the gravity it deserves." She paused, letting the weight of her words settle over the assembly. "We decline." The chamber erupted in a cacophony of alien exclamations, chittering, electronic squeals, harmonic resonances of distress. Vorthak slammed his ceremonial staff against the speaking platform, demanding order. "You refuse?" he bellowed once silence was restored. "Do you comprehend what you face? 17 star nations, 4 million vessels, weapons that can crack planets?" "We comprehend perfectly," Ana replied. "The question is whether you do." She gestured to Halen, who activated a holographic display above the chamber. Star charts appeared, showing the current positions of Council fleets massing at the galaxy's edge. For the past 72 hours you have been mobilizing your combined forces, Anna continued. Pulling ships from every sector, stripping defenses from your homeworlds. Very impressive, also very predictable. The display shifted, highlighting new contacts throughout Council space, human vessels that had somehow appeared without triggering any detection systems. While you gathered your fleets at our borders, we've been distributing ours throughout your territories. Every major population center, every industrial hub, every military installation in Council space now has a human ship in orbit. The silence in the chamber was absolute. But surely, Chancellor Vorthak's voice cracked slightly. Surely you don't mean to... To what? Anna's smile widened. We learned much during our imprisonment on Kethmori Thalan. We learned that survival requires adaptation, that strength comes not from size but from ruthless efficiency, that sometimes the only way to end a war is to make it too costly to continue. She gestured again, and the holographic display showed detailed schematics of every council member's homeworld, defensive grids, population centers, critical infrastructure. Information that should have been impossible to obtain. We also learned patience, Anna continued. 300 years we spent among you, watching, listening, learning. Did you really think we were just grateful refugees, happy to trade trinkets for scraps of technology? Every human trader, every diplomatic mission, every cultural exchange, all intelligence-gathering operations. Elder Zixthala's ancient voice whispered across the chamber. The Death World protocols. They were implemented for a reason. Our ancestors knew what these beings were capable of. Your ancestors were wise, Anna acknowledged. They understood that humanity doesn't make war. We are war. It's written into our DNA, forged by millions of years of conflict on a world that tried to kill us every single day. She stood now, her presence somehow filling the vast chamber despite her small stature compared to many of the alien delegates. So here is our counter-proposal. You will withdraw your fleets immediately. You will return to your borders and stay there. And you will remember why your ancestors locked us away in the first place, not because they feared what we were, but because they feared what we would become. The chamber remained silent as Anna's words echoed off the crystalline walls. Choose quickly, she added softly. Our ships are waiting. In the end, it took the Galactic Council exactly 17 minutes to vote unanimously for immediate withdrawal. As the human delegation prepared to depart, Anna turned back to address the assembly one final time. Oh, and Council? Earth was never our real name either. We just let you think it was. The last thing the assembled aliens heard as the humans left was Anna's quiet words to Helen. Phase 2 deployment is authorized. Time to reclaim what was always ours. The age of human exile was over. The age of human expansion had begun.